Shalom, shalom, Israel's brother Zabba. Y'all are coming back at you with another cold cut. I like to give all honor and glory and praise to Yahweh, in the name of his son, Yahweh Shai. We're going to hop right into it. Continue rolling through the spirit. Let's go to Sirach 22:1. A slothful man is compared to a filthy stone, and everyone will hiss him out to disgrace. Yeah, nobody wants to deal with a slothful man or a slothful woman. I mean, the Most High, we walk in the Most High's image. We're supposed to be walking in the Lord's image, and the Lord never rests. The Lord doesn't sleep. The Lord has judgments happen every single morning, every single day. So who are we to be slothful? Who are we to not continue to work for Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua? It says, verse number 2, a slothful man is compared to the filth of a dunghill, and every man that takes it up will shake his head. Yeah, a man that just wants to, he's just waiting all the time, waiting for things to happen to him. Doesn't really go out there and kind of, what they say, pursue opportunities, doesn't create opportunities, just lazy. The Lord is not dealing with a man like that, especially in these last days when the Lord has judgments happening more than ever. The Lord is working. The Lord is on fire. How much more his servants in these last days when the Lord commanded us to have a job to do? Let's go to the book of Luke chapter 19, because we have a job to do through the Spirit. We have a job to do, not just your carnal job, not just your job that you clock into, but your job for Yahweh in the name of his son, Yahweh Shah. This is how we always say, this is not a hobby. We don't look at this truth as a hobby, as something to do, a pastime, just so we can gather with like-minded individuals and just have fun, when we have time. This is not that. This truth is our real job, more so than your carnal job. This is Luke chapter 19. And let's start at verse number 16. Then came the first saying, Lord, thy pound have gained 10 pounds. So when the Lord gives you certain talents, the Lord wants you to increase upon the talents that he gave you. So the Lord invested into you. That's just what it really comes down to. The Lord invested into you, and you're supposed to abound in that blessing and giving the Lord a return. That's business. That's finance. The Lord is expecting a return from you, from the investment that he gave you. And it says, verse number 17, and he said unto him, well, thou good servant, because thou hast been faithful in a very little, have thou authority over 10 cities. And guess what? If that investment does well, you reap well with what the Lord gave you. The Lord will reward you for that. And it says, verse number 18, and the second came, saying, Lord, thy pound have gained 5 pounds. And he said likewise to him, be thou also over 5 cities, right? Verse 20, and another came, saying, Lord, behold, here is thy pound, which I have kept laid up in a napkin. And this servant right here, this servant was purely lazy. You took the investment of the Lord and you put it in a damn napkin, symbolizing, and you didn't really do anything with it. You put it in a napkin, right? You put the Lord's investment in a napkin, right? And it says, verse 21, for I feared thee, because thou art an austere man. Thou takest up that thou layest not down, and reapest that thou didst not sow. And he saith unto him, out of thine own mouth will I judge thee, thou wicked servant. Thou knewest that I was an austere man, taking up that I laid not down, and reaping that I did not sow. Wherefore then gavest not thou my money into a bank, that at my coming I might have required mine own with usury? Right, you didn't even put it in a bank, you put it in a napkin. The Lord could have at least reaped something out of that if you really want to be lazy, but you put it in a napkin. So the Lord said, you're a wicked servant. If you're slothful and you struggle with that demon and don't do anything to get out of that, then the Lord called you wicked. Right? And it says, verse 24, and he said unto them that stood by, take from the pound and give it to him that have 10 pounds. And they said unto him, Lord, he have 10 pounds. For I say unto you that unto every one which hath shall be given, and from him that have not, even that he hath shall be taken away from him. Yeah. And the Lord's going to take the investment away from you and give it to somebody better than thou. You can't be slothful, man. Especially not in these last days. We have a lot of work to do. This is Romans chapter 12 and verse number 11. The Lord invested into you. Don't let him down. And it says, not slothful in business, fervent in spirit, serving the Lord. This is the Lord's business, man. Building this temple up, right? Bringing back the sheep, right? From all 4 corners of the earth, trying to reap a reward for our labors. It's a business. It's an investment. And we have to make sure that we're doing it in honesty and sincerity, giving 144% effort, because the Lord said our work shall be rewarded. Let's go to the book of Hebrews, chapter 6 and verse number 10. For the Most High is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, which you have showed towards his name, and that you have ministered to the saints and do minister. The Lord's not going to forget your work. The Lord's not going to forget everything that you have done. That's why we have to go hard for Yahweh Shem Yahushua. But on the flip side, the Lord's not going to forget that you were also slothful as well. The Lord's not going to forget how you didn't want to put in this work for him, how you didn't try. You know there's a camp 20 minutes from you, and you say, it's too far. I don't even want to congregate. I just like being alone, being on my laptop. You watch them on YouTube, you study from them, but you don't want to go out because it's just too far, man. It's a lion in the way, a lion in the streets, man. Resting your hand in your bosom, yawning. You know you can go out there and labor, put in work for the Most High, but you don't do it. The Lord's going to remember that as well. The Lord's going to take that into account. We can learn from men like you. You can learn from that. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 24. You can learn from slothful men. So when people look at you and you're not really doing the work of the Lord, they're studying from you. They're learning on what not to be. This Proverbs chapter 24 and in verse 30. I went by the field of the slothful and by the vineyard of the man void of understanding. And lo, it was all grown over with thorns, and nettles had covered the face thereof, and the stone wall thereof was broken down. Yeah, a slothful man, he's not going to do well to maintain himself. He's not going to do well to maintain, because it takes work, making sure things are cut, things are not overgrown. It takes work doing that. A slothful man is not going to put in that type of work. Verse 32, then I saw and considered it well. So King Solomon said, hey, I received instruction from that. I looked at the building, looked at the decayed state of the building, looked at the field of the slothful, looked how they worked, look how their mind was, and their minds were void of understanding. Their mentality just wasn't motivated. It's just, it was just slothful. And what? Verse 32, then I saw and considered it well. I looked upon it and received instruction. Yeah, so slothful men, you play a purpose on an example of what not to be like. Verse 33, yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall thy poverty come as one that travaileth, and thy want as an armed man. And when an armed man comes up to you and robs you, and guess what? He's gone in the midst of the night. That's how fast poverty will come upon you if you're slothful and you're not going as hard as you can for Yahweh in the name of his son, Yahushua. Let's get this last precept. Let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 7. Sirach, chapter 7. And verse number 15, hate not laborious work, neither husbandry which the Most High have ordained. So if the Lord ordained as an Israelite man, woman, child in his truth to do husbandry, which goes into field management, land management, laborers work, the Lord ordained that from the beginning, and you don't want to do that, and or have that demon on you, don't want to get that demon off you, then the Lord's going to destroy you in these last days, especially when the Lord is working. We are expected to work. I'd like to give all honor and glory and praise to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, and be the mighty strong. Shalom.